Sure, this is definitely not right. For all the people watching, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button too. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. This man is a criminal, the same way Cassie, Diddy, and everybody in his organization is criminals. They talking about racketeering in a criminal organization. The only way you're gonna have a criminal organization is if you got willing participants. And since they was all so willing, that mean that they all need to go down with you. But they gave this man immunity. He testifying in court, even though he was selling big coke. And when he got arrested, he ain't get arrested with Diddy. He got arrested by himself for committing a crime. Y'all need to see this, man.
Two of rapper Shawn Diddy Combs' homes were raided in connection to a federal human trafficking investigation. His attorney is now accusing the government of a witch hunt. New TMZ photos show the moment federal agents confronted Diddy at a Miami airport Monday. In the photos is Combs' alleged drug mule, who was arrested on drug charges. The raids come after several sexual assault lawsuits were filed against Combs.
This is a great way to kind of deliver a shock and awe message to anybody connected with Shawn that this is, we're serious and we're coming after him, and you better cooperate or you're going to be left in the wake.
Combs has not been arrested or charged, but legal experts believe the feds are building their case against him. Combs' attorney says his client is cooperating with authorities and will fight to clear his name.
So Diddy wasn't selling drugs. He was buying drugs. So this Paul dude was the drug dealer. And he got immunity just to take Diddy down. So everybody involved in this is innocent except for him. That's basically what they're telling the people. And that's why this case is falling apart. Diddy's alleged drug mule testifies. Employees move like SEAL Team 6, use cocaine to stay awake. They had to do all of that just to get Diddy some drugs, just to supply this man. They make it seem like Diddy is a village within himself. Like if they got to go through Navy SEAL training just to get this man his drugs. It really wasn't that deep. They was hustling, they was getting to the money. Who can't see that? Brendan Paul, who received immunity in federal case, claims he used drugs to stay awake for days while serving the rapper. So he was living to serve Diddy. He woke up, he went to sleep, everything just Diddy on his brain all the time. He ain't had no freedom, he ain't have no will, no nothing. Everything he did in his life was for Diddy. They try and make it seem like this man was his slave, a drug slave. Shawn Diddy Combs' former assistant testified Friday about intense conditions while working for the disgraced music mogul. Brendan Paul began working for the Last Night rapper in late 2002 up until March 2024, the day Combs' house got raided and everything. So he was working with this dude for 2 years. Paul, a former Syracuse basketball player, claimed that Combs wanted his employee to move like the SEAL Team 6, and his mission was to make sure Combs was always happy. And he said yes. Paul allegedly used Adderall and cocaine to stay awake while employed and would go long periods without sleeping, once for up to 3. That ain't got shit to do with Diddy. They make it seem like every time they go to sleep, this man poked them with something to keep them up. This some bullshit, y'all. Look at this. Oh, damn, we got ads on it. Y'all stay tuned while I get this together.
Probably forever, there's only been one Frosty. Because what would we even do? Add a bunch of new swirls and mix-ins like Oreo cookies or Pop-Tarts pieces? That's kind of genius, actually. For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, play this shit.
So I know we had a break at least yesterday, but testimony has picked up back now in the Shawn Combs sex trafficking trial. One of Combs' former personal assistants is expected to take the stand today as one of the prosecution's final witnesses.
Yeah, that's right. Jurors could begin deliberations as soon as next week. ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has more from the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
Tanya, Sam, Danny, good to see you guys from court where trial is resuming after it was unexpectedly adjourned because a juror started experiencing symptoms of vertigo. And we're waiting to see what the judge does with a different juror who had spoken about his jury service when he or she shouldn't have. That was discussed in a closed courtroom. Words still got out, and the attorney said they didn't know how, but that prompted Judge Arun Subramanian to say, well, someone's lying because the courtroom was...
They ain't got no dead body on display. They ain't got no dead people, nobody overdose. All they got is Cassie and some Jane Doe chick. That's all they working with. They bought in the drug mule. This man, he's a drug dealer. They gave him immunity to speak about his time selling drugs for Diddy. In what world? When have you ever seen some shit like this? Now, I could see if he was an informant all along and he was sent to infiltrate what Diddy got going on, his criminal organization, but that's not the case, man. Brendan Paul, one of Shawn Diddy Combs' former assistants, he was on the stand today or whatever. He took the stand. Combs' assistant explains 2024 cocaine arrest. Okay, this what I need to see right here, man. Brendan Paul said he worked as an assistant to Combs from late 2022 after graduating college and stopped working for Combs when he was arrested in March 2025. That's when his life should have been over with. Why is he still out in the streets? He got caught. Well, he's supposed to be serving 25 to life right now. He said he was on his way to a family vacation with Combs when he was arrested for possession of coke. It was in my Gower bag for personal assistant duties. Paul said he was sweeping Combs' room and grabbing to put it somewhere else, but forgot to remove it from his own bag before leaving for the church. That could have been his own shit. You can't tell. He was doing it too, man. They was all on that shit. The whole squad coked out. That could have been his own personal stash. Former assistant testifies he knew going and working for Combs would be a tremendous job. Brendan testified he heard about the opportunity to be Shawn Diddy's assistant from Aline Marr, one of Combs' former assistants. He told me to get in to get out. If you have a girlfriend, break up with her, and you're never going to see your family, Paul testified. He said he understood what old boy was telling him, that it was going to be a really hard job that required all of his attention. Paul interviewed for the position in the fall of 2022 at Combs' home. Before entering the home, he said he gave his ID to Combs security and signed a non-disclosure agreement. Then he met KK and Frankie Santella for about 20 minutes. Paul said he started working for Combs a few days later. In his first few weeks on the job, Paul said he worked out of Combs' LA home and mainly received instructions from other assistants. Paul said Diddy was living like a boss like that. Paul said he divided assistants' duties with Combs, other personal assistants. Paul testified he helped handle Combs' travel, logistics, and packing, and helped Combs with his fitness workouts, meal plans, music-related needs. Paul also said he would pack marijuana joints in Combs' garage. So that coke had to be his own personal shit. He was doing regular assistant stuff, helping this man with his meal plans, workouts, just being there to help. He an old ass man with money. He got to have people around him. Them Alzheimer's done kicked in. He don't know what's what and what the fuck is going on for real. Combs' former assistant says he worked up to 100 hours a week. Brendan Paul, a former assistant, whatever, said he typically worked between 80 to 100 hours a week. He said he would usually work between 4 to 6 days a week. Was they stocking boxes? What the fuck he had them doing, man? Gotta watch him in his sleep with that Lauryn Hill playing in the background. His starting salary was $75K a year, he testified, and he later got a raise to $100. He testified he was paid by Combs to smuggle drugs. Nigga, you wasn't smuggling no dope. That ain't shit. You can't pay. That ain't no money to be doing all this shit they alleging that he was doing, yo. That ain't even worth the money. Risking your life for fucking $75K a year, that don't make no damn sense. I don't believe that, man. He was doing regular shit and got caught with some work and put it on. They probably made him put it on Diddy, man. They probably snatched him up. They seen that he was working for Diddy. They put this shit together just so he could testify on him later. It's all some ratatouille shit going on, especially if he made it to the courtroom today. Paul said he traveled frequently for work. He flew with Combs on his private jet 3 to 4 times, but he said he usually travels separately so he could get there early to set up his rooms. So when you walk in, everything was seamless and he had everything he needed. Paul says sometimes other employees like stylists and photographers would travel early with him as well. When he traveled for work, Paul said Combs' travel manager would book his travel. Paul said the longest time period he worked without sleep was when they were in New York releasing Combs' latest album. Paul stayed awake for about 3 days, although he took some naps in between. I was young, so I was able to handle it. Paul testified that he took prescription Adderall and the rare use of cocaine to help him stay awake and alert during his employment. That's a personal choice. He said he also smoked marijuana during his employment. So he was a weed head, cokehead, trying to live that life, working with Diddy. But that don't mean that Diddy was using him to get him some drug. Where that part at? Combs wanted his assistants to operate like a SEAL 16. Hell yeah, he paying y'all ass and he the boss. That don't make him Saddam Hussein. Brendan Paul testified that his mission was to make sure Shawn Diddy, they make it seem like this nigga Osama bin Laden. His mission was to make sure Diddy Combs was always happy. He said that Combs told his assistants they should operate like SEAL Team 6. Paul said Combs hired him 2 or 3 times, and he testified about one incident that sticks out in his memory. In late October or early November, Paul testified that he forgot Combs' Lululemon fanny pack when he wanted to go for a walk. That's when Combs told Paul, I don't want to see your face, and call KK and tell her you're fired. Because he forgot that nigga fanny pack. And he still butthurt about it enough to speak about it in court. You bitch. Paul recalled that Combs' former chief of staff, KK, told him to lay low soon after she sent Paul to set up Combs' London hotel room. And that's when he was hating. That's when he became a bitch. Around Combs' birthday that year, Combs never discussed the incident with him again. He probably was looking like, why the fuck you still here? I don't already fired your ass. And the same nigga that he fired sitting in the courtroom testifying against his ass right now. Paul also said it wasn't a thing to talk to human resources about any issues. He said if anyone had an issue, they went straight to Combs or Coram. So when he got hired and he went to Diddy's house, he didn't even meet with Diddy. He met with this chick and somebody else, and they gave him a job. And he was setting up the hotels and stuff. Puff probably never really interacted with this dude like that. That's fucked up. Assistant testifies to buying drugs for Combs. Okay, this the part. So where I got to see if there's any incrimination going on here. Brendan Paul, Combs' former assistant, testified that he saw Combs use drugs, include cocaine, ketamine, ecstasy, and marijuana, about once a month, but there were other times he seemed high. Man, get off that nigga dick. The jury saw a photo of Paul took early in his employment of ecstasy, of a powder form, and ketamine and Molly, and that was dyed pink for the aesthetics, according to Paul's testimony. So this nigga was snapping pictures. He was blackmailing this man when he first got employed, man. He couldn't trust none of these people. None of them. All of the people that he employed, he couldn't trust not one of them bitches. The jury saw a photo Paul took early in his employment of ecstasy, of a powder form, of ketamine and Molly and all that shit. Paul said Combs or another assistant would tell him to obtain drugs for Combs. He testified he would buy marijuana about every 2 months, paying $4,000 for 16 ounces. He said he purchased the marijuana from Philip Pines, one of Combs' previous assistants. So he telling on, if this is petty shit, man. Paul said he bought other drugs for Combs. Fewer than 10 times. He testified he would sometimes pay about $300 to $500 or whatever for the weed. On some occasions, Paul's text a drug dealer and they would come to Combs' home to deliver the drugs. The jury saw messages between Paul and the dealer and other Combs assistant, Jonathan Perez. Paul testified that Perez put him in touch with the dealer to get the work. He wasn't out. They make it seem like he was out there trafficking. He was just a nigga at the door to take the pack and put it on a Diddy bed or leave it on the counter or whatever the case. So he was an assistant. It is up. It is for you or Puff, the dealer asked in the message. Paul responded, according to the message read aloud in court. But please don't disclose that. You can tell whoever is for me. Hold on, wait. But please don't disclose that. You can tell whoever is for me. He probably was buying that shit for himself. Paul said once he received the drugs, he would give them directly to Combs or put them in a Gucci pouch where the drugs were stored. Paul testified, how you gonna have a dope head working for you though? When he see the drugs, he start itching and shit because he on drugs. Paul testified he will pick up prescription drugs for Combs and pharmacists under the name Frank Black. The jury saw messages Combs sent Paul on February 14th asking him to get Xannies. Paul testified that Combs didn't have a prescription for Xanax and he was able to obtain the drugs. I had some neighbors. And them motherfuckers, it was an old lady. And them cars just would not stop coming in and out that damn driveway, man. And I'm like, this lady she's selling her damn prescription pills. There's some regular shit out here. It ain't right. It was wrong is wrong. But he doing some shit regular people got going on. This is America. This shit normal. There's people in the projects popping pills. I don't know how the fuck they get them. It's junkies out here that got them, man. $10 a pill. I ain't never, and I would never. But I know what's going on. It seem like Diddy invented the wheel. Who gives a damn? You know what I'm saying? This man is a criminal. He was involved in crime. However he got there, he is not a Boy Scout. He signed up for the shit. He knew what he was getting himself into. He need to be in jail as well. Since this is so criminal. People have personal assistants, man. If you got it like that, you might need some people to take care of some shit for you, depending on your lifestyle that you live in. That's why I said, man, I wouldn't want to work with nobody for shit, man. Nobody. If I ain't got to. Former assistant describes how he will set up rooms for Combs and working on Wild King nights. How long I been on here? This all some bullshit. Paul wore gloves to clean up after the Combs hotel. He a regular ass assistant as Lil Rodney ass name. Why they ain't let Lil Rodney get up there? His testimony more convincing than any of this shit. They just ain't want that black man to get no money or come close to no paper. Lil Rodney had it all set up. He had photos of Cuba Gooding Jr. He had video on his drone. He was recording shit on his phone. Why they ain't let him shine? But they got this nigga up there. They gave him immunity. Paul testifies he didn't tell law enforcement cocaine wasn't his because of loyalty to Diddy. Bitch, he trying to pull a Megan Thee Stallion. He said loyalty to Diddy, the nigga that fired you for getting his fanny pack. The jury saw a selfie of Shawn Diddy Combs and his former chief of staff KK and his former assistant Bradley Paul on a private jet taken on March 25, 2024, before Paul was arrested for cocaine possession at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport. See, now Diddy had the stuff coming to his house. They wasn't out there in the street hopping on planes and shit. So that's already a flaw. He got arrested at the airport. They were about to take off on the flight to the Bahamas for a vacation with Combs' family, Paul said. Paul testified he hasn't seen or spoken to Combs basically since that photo was taken. Paul didn't tell law enforcement that the work wasn't his that day. When they asked Paul why, he said loyalty. Paul testified that the charges against him related to the incident were dropped because I have a really good bit, man. Get the out of here, yo. What is he talking about? Because he got a really good lawyer? How you gonna say that in the court of law? Yo, I don't know, man. What's wrong is wrong. This motherfucker said in the courtroom, the reason why them charges was dropped is because he have a really good lawyer. If that ain't privilege, I don't know what the fuck is, man. Diddy got a really, really good lawyer. How that made them lawyers feel? Diddy's still sitting in jail. He's still in court. Diddy got to be thinking to himself, well, I need this nigga lawyer. And you work for me, so how you get a really, really good lawyer and you employed by me? Oh my God, man, this whole trial is some bullshit. And people still entertain. I don't understand how people been able to entertain this shit for so long, man. No wonder my views are so low. People like the doo-doo. People want to hear the bullshit. People want to go along with the narrative. Oh my God. What the hell is going on? This shit made me sick. I was thinking maybe I should play along with everybody else and just, that's some hard shit. You gotta be stupid as fuck in order to entertain this shit. And people doing it like all day, every day. They getting them views though. I ain't hating. But my brain ain't wired like that. Oh my God, man. He testified that the charges against him related to the incident were dropped because I have a really good lawyer, Your Honor. Man, he should have ordered in the court. They should have locked his ass up. Like, he ain't that good, bitch. They ought to sentence him right there in the middle of the Diddy trial for this nonsense. He completed over 20 drug classes and submitted random drug testing, Paul said. Defense attorney Brian Still is now cross-examining his bitch ass. Combs' ex-assistant says handling drugs was only a minor part of his work. Defense attorney Brian Still started his cross-examination of him and asked him about his background. Still mentioned that Paul walked on to the Syracuse University basketball team. Paul confirmed that he works hard and strives for perfection. He said he was willing to work long hours for Combs and learned that the exposure he got to the music industry through Combs. Paul confirmed that handling drugs was a minor part of the work he did. You were not some drug mule, right? This man said, absolutely not. But what the fuck is what y'all been talking about this whole time, man? They said he was a mule for Diddy because he got caught with some work. And when he got caught, he told them that it was his and not Diddy's. Which makes sense, because why would Diddy have you take some shit on the plane for him when he got people everywhere he land? That was his drugs. He said, you were not some drug mule, right? He said, absolutely not. Paul said that he believed the drugs he obtained were just for Combs' personal use. Still asked if Paul thought Wild King nights were also personal for Combs. He said, I considered it to be like an escape. Paul testified, confirming that he believed it was Combs' personal time to be alone with Jane. So these wild nights was just him spending time with his girl. He a criminal for that? Paul testified that he spoke with Jane, one of Combs' accusers, before a Wild King night, and almost every time afterward, he confirmed that he never saw anything that made him think she was hesitant or not a willing participant. So this bitch was ready to go. Every damn time. She was not sad about it. Paul said his heart dropped when agent discovered cocaine in his travel bag. Cross-examination defense attorney Brian Steele asked former Combs whatever. Paul confirmed his arrest was for a small amount of Yola for Combs' personal use that Paul had accidentally left in his travel bag. Bitch, stop lying. That was his drugs. He admitted that he was on the shit the whole time he was working for Diddy. Why would he have a small amount? So when he got off the plane and got to the family vacation, like, hey, Mr. Diddy, this is yours. Oh, Mr. Diddy, you forgot this at the hotel on your last Wild King night. Oh, good luck, Playboy. I forgot about that. A small amount for Diddy's personal use that he accidentally left in his travel bag. Neither Combs nor KK asked him to travel with cocaine, Paul testified. Paul recalled telling law enforcement that everything in the bag was his, and then his heart dropped when the agent pulled the coke out of the bag because he didn't mean to travel with it. Well, that's your motherfucking bad. But they want to put everything on Diddy. I'm over it, man. They want to put everything on this man. Okay, I'm about to get out of here, but I got to read some more. This shit is ridiculous. Former assistant says working for Combs was good for the most part. Yeah, he was able to get high. He was able to get laid. Your whack ass wasn't getting no cheeks like that before working with Diddy. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Brandon if he would work for a criminal. He said absolutely not. Still asked Paul if he felt indebted to Combs for the experience he received working for him. Said, I guess. What do you mean by in debt? Still asked if Paul had learned a lot from Combs, and Paul confirmed he had. Still had asked if he had a good experience working for Combs. He said, for the most part. And he still fucked him. Puffy should have told him like that dude told Scarface in the movie. Like, Tony, if you ever fuck me, if you ever try to fuck me. For the most part, still cross-examination is over. Ain't nothing else to talk about, man. Get this circus, this clown show shit out of here, man. Former assistant says his feelings towards Combs are complicated. Yeah, because you were a snitch and a bitch. And he fired you and you still wiggled your way back in there. And then a lot of these people he fired and they just wouldn't leave. They come crawling back begging. And then they take the stand against him. Former assistant says his feelings towards Combs are complicated. On redirect, assistant, whatever, Paul will believe taking place. There was sex happening at the party. Paul responded. Paul confirmed that he was not present in the hotel rooms, so he did not know definitely if anything illegitimate was happening. Sitting here today, how do you feel about Mr. Combs? He said it's complicated before he was excused from the witness stand. Yeah, that is complicated. You lie on somebody and you making up all this shit. You a free man. And you the one that got caught with the drugs and you put it on him. Now, Gene Dill said, well, look at him trying to look gutter. He got the fit. He think he motherfucking Kristoff Porzingis because he working with Diddy. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Run that back. Run that back. This motherfucker act like he with the goon squad. Like, yeah, I got them pills, got them Zans and all that. Move a little something for Diddy. Like, what you want? I got it, man. You know, set up the hotel, freak off with bad bitches and everything. Yeah. In the studio with them real ones and all that. Diddy put him down with the squad. And he the main bitch. in the court. But like I was saying, Gene Deal already let it be known how them wild nights be going. He said he was at the door in front of the hotel room when Diddy was in there with Ja Rule and some chick, and they had butt plugs in the whole nine. He said Ja Rule's cousin came to the door asking for his cousin, and Gene threw him on the piano, and Ja Rule and Diddy came running out the room with their towels wrapped around their waist. Like, and Ja Rule told his cousin, boy, you ain't want to come in there. It was some freaky diggy shit going on. Oh, man. Who cares? They some grown ass men, man. And everybody grown. When they gonna talk about the kids and all that shit? Now, Fat Joe, he got another thing coming, but this right here, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Cassie told him, you treat me like a hooker, to be honest. Yeah, we can see that. The court is on the short break. The jury trying to get out of there. They coming up with excuses, motherfucker. One of them said they had vitiligo. The other one, he ain't trying to let them know where he live at. The jury trying to wiggle out of this damn trial. Like, this is some bullshit, man. Yo, y'all gotta let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section. I got so much love for y'all. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button too, y'all. I'ma holla at y'all on my next video, baby.